The spies came back. 10 of them said, "There are giants in the land. We cannot go up." There were 2 spies with a different spirit. They said, "God's promises are true. The covenant he gave to our forefathers is still valid." The world says, "We must give land for peace." We say, "Christians must stand with Judea and Samaria." The world presents a biased and negative representation. It is now time for the Joshua and Caleb Report. Stories from the heartland of Israel.
All right, Joe, thank you for having us here in your chocolate factory. This is exciting to be here with you guys. But I really want to go back your story up till now. We'll get to this part in a little bit, but I really want to hear your story of how you got to this place.
Okay, this place, Malach Hever, or this place, the chocolate factory in
Israel, living here in this area.
Okay.
Yeah, because you came from the States.
Yeah. So I came to Israel about 10 years ago, and it was kind of a precondition of getting married to my wife. She wasn't even going to date anyone who wasn't serious about coming to Israel. So I had thought about it. I wasn't 100% sure, but when I met her, I knew that she was the right person for me. So I started putting that more into focus. All right, let's see how we're gonna make it work. And I was out in Colorado. I was learning pastry arts, and to end my program, I did an apprenticeship in Europe. I went to Germany for 4 months with my wife. We came, and that was it. So.
And you came right to this area?
We didn't come to this area. We first went to a yeshiva, a religious college or institution, I guess, and I learned there for 2 years. That's where I was learning with my partner, Zev. He was my study partner for my first year there. And after a couple of years and working in a few restaurants in Gush Etzion, a friend of mine came here to live here and was in charge of bringing new families. And he said, "Just come down, visit. It's really beautiful." I remember the drive down thinking it's so far away from everything. There's no way. There was Arabs everywhere. You're looking, and it was something new for me. And I remember telling my wife, "It's too far. We're not gonna really live here." And all of a sudden, the second when you come to the top of the hill, all of a sudden the view opens up. And I remember on that day, it was one of those crystal clear days. You could see the Dead Sea. And I had that look, and it was almost like one of those eureka moments. I'm sure there's places in America, I'm sure Yellowstone or other places that have a similar. This was a view that the second I saw it, I was so overwhelmed that I could look at this for the rest of my life, and that was it. It's so beautiful, and on top of that, obviously the connection to Abraham. Literally walking here, literally like looking out. They tell us that just this view is you would have seen stone being destroyed. Abraham would have been looking out, seeing the rocks and fire from the sky falling down right from this spot. I mean, it's such an amazing, historically rich location that the combination of it's physically beautiful. The climate is great. I mean, it's cool, it's nice, it's dry. It happens to be optimum for chocolate making. Cool and dry. But that's how I got here. A friend invited us. We saw the place, and instantly, I fell in love with just the sheer beauty of the view. Is really overwhelming.
So you packed up and took your family and came here. How long ago was that?
We came here 5 years ago.
5 years ago, and just in this 5 years, you're establishing a business here. Can you tell us a little bit about establishing your business and really rooting down in the land?
When I was still in the yeshiva, I had made chocolate candies. I remember I gave Zev a pack of pralines, and I told him, I was like, this is something I think I want to do in Israel. I was like trying to figure out, am I going to work as a chef or a pastry chef? I wasn't sure. I had tried, and it was a very difficult thing to be able to support a family working as a chef. You're working late nights, you're never home. It wasn't a great lifestyle for me. And as I started looking into making chocolate in Israel, it was a combination of the idea to make chocolate from scratch. Was just starting to happen in America on a very small scale. And I don't know if it was a combination of being in Denver for a little bit. The first guy who did this was in Denver, and he was very open with me, telling me what he did. I visited him after I moved to Israel. He showed me his factory. And I've been in touch with several different chocolate makers in America. But because there wasn't a good high quality chocolate to begin with already being made in Israel, I kind of felt like that was the message I was receiving, make chocolate in Israel from scratch, and forget about making chocolate candies or whatever, focus on this. And I started playing with it very early on. I mean, I think it was a week or two after the first time I got beans into the country. I was catering, and I had Zev come in to help me cater at this job. In the beginning of the week, I told him, I was like, well, I'm leaving the restaurant. I'm going to open up, I'm going to try to make chocolate in Israel. And I was making it in my house at the time, down the bottom of the hill. And he said to me, I think I'm going to just come once a week. I just want to see what you're doing, By the end of the week, before we even started, he was like, all right, where do we sign? Let's start this business, and that's really what happened, is that we started off very small, and like I said, in my kitchen, and then we rented a smaller place, and it was really, the factory now looks a lot nicer than it used to. We started off with a Maytag dryer that we ripped out the internals, that we just switched the oven thermostat for like the dryer's thermostat. And it was very Rube Goldberg, a lot of machinery that we just built out of wood, and that's how it started. It was like scrappy. We were trying to just make it. We were making a product that didn't exist in Israel. I mean, there wasn't. Elite just came out with a single origin bar. So I mean, we were doing single origin when we started. We were working with just one bean. And people would try to understand. They'd ask us, how much is the bar of chocolate? We'd tell them. They're like, why is it so expensive? What's so unique and what's so different? And that's a hard thing to say in one sentence, because really, I mean, we're doing everything is so different, from what everyone else is doing. We're starting from the beginning. It's a totally different thing. So it was important for me, like I said, for my family to do it here. We wanted to be close to home. It's great because chocolate making is a very long process. So it's easy to go up and down, whatever. If the kids need me, they can just walk up. It's not such a far commute. But that's how we started.
Can you go a little bit more into that? Because where is here? I know geographically we're in a very important place, and they went into a little bit with Abraham being here. But I know we're right next to Hebron. This is a pretty packed place, isn't it?
It's we're about 5-10 minutes from Hebron. And this place in particular, it's called Pnei Hever, which in Hebrew means it's facing the Hever. Apparently there was an ancient river that was right in front of here called the Hever River, which went into Hebron. And the Yishuv, the settlement has got about 60 families right now. And it's expanding. I mean, every last house has been filled, and we're hoping that we have a new phase of building, hopefully bring in a couple more families, maybe 20, 30 more families. It could grow a little bit. It would be a good thing for the place. So we moved to this facility 3 years ago, and at that time really there was nothing going on in this whole industrial complex. And now actually I have a neighbor who in the first one, he's just starting up now. I think next year hopefully, he's got olive trees on the bottom of the hill, and he's starting an olive oil factory right next door. So I mean, and it's very high quality olives too. This is a very good place for olives. So it's, this whole area is turning into like a Napa Valley type of thing out in Yehuda. There's a concept in Hebrew called hashgachat pratit, right? Which is that God, that He sets up everything how it's going to be for you. Like everyone you encounter, you're encountering for a reason. So I had my mother-in-law is from Mexico, and I had become regular that anytime I see someone in Israel who looked some kind of Hispanic background, I would just ask them in Spanish, usually, hopefully, not too broken, if do they know any fincas? Do they know any farmers from where they're from? So in this area, there's not so many buses either, so it's very rare that people pick up hitchhikers to travel. So I picked up a girl, and right away I saw she was Peruvian. There's a Peruvian community in Kiryat Arba, which is also 5 minutes from here, and there's a Peruvian community in Gush Etzion. So I was picking her up, and I said, you know any farmers? And so she said to me, my father used to farm cacao back when we lived in Peru. I said, really? So he brings me over to his house, and his name is Betzalo, and he actually comes from this community that the entire community converted in Peru and made Aliyah in 2 stages, 250, 300 families, and they have an unbelievable story in their own right. So I met this guy. He brought me some samples of cacao. We ended up buying cacao from him the first time. He would go to Peru and buy for us. The second trip, I went with him. We ended up buying a little bit of land. The land that I bought at that time was land that he had sold to his friend before he made Aliyah. And his friend, his daughters, the friend is not Jewish, but the daughter is converted, and they live in Kiryat Arba also. So it's like this really weird, like telenovela type of relationship. But that's one example. And we didn't know how to get cacao, and I gave a hitchhike, and right off the bat, we've been sourcing cacao from Peru since then. All right, so this is the roaster.
Okay.
And this is what's gonna roast the cocoa for about a half hour.
So is this the same thing you roast your coffee and stuff into?
Yeah, different temperature, different time.
Really?
Yeah, it's about half the temperature almost.
So what's the temperature right now?
We're at like 125 about.
Okay. So it's kind of like a slow roast, like you just said.
Slow, it's gentle, yeah. It's
cool.
really to get the water out. There's about 7-8% water in the beans, so it's to dry it out.
Huh. Okay. Very cool. So how long does it stay in the roaster for?
About a half hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
So then you lift this leather up and it all dumps
Yeah,
down there?
we'll get it on the other side.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. All right. Great.
So this machine used to work better, and it stopped working. We took it apart, put it back together again. When we put it back together, the one function that was really nice about it was it used to be able to pour out, the amount of chocolate into the mold. But what we found out was that it wasn't accurate. It wasn't giving us 100 grams every time. We were getting very big variations, which is not only a problem legally, it's a problem according to the Torah. Like, it's one of the worst things you could possibly do in Scripture is weights and measures, right? So because of that, so now we do everything the really slow way. We're pouring by hand to make sure that every bar is 100 grams.
Wow. So can you drink that?
You could. You definitely could. I have to do another one. That was such a great one.
That just gets the air bubbles out or something? Is that what that does?
It gets the bubbles out, and it gets like the chocolate into all the wrap them by hand. This is volunteers.
There you go. I don't think it'd be too hard to get volunteers to come help.
No, I don't think so either.
That's cool. How many bars can you put out in a day?
I try to I think the number I figured out was something I need to do like 1,200 in a day to feel like it's we're hitting our numbers that we need to do. You got to do minimally 500 a day.
Really?
Yeah.
So where do you like? What is your growth goal here? Like, do you have a goal to get to a certain point, or?
Yeah, definitely. I think that in terms of our current business, like we need a little bit more distribution, and then we'd be fine. Is the truth. So we're trying to figure out how to get to America. We have interest in America. We get emails all the time. And also in Israel, we're really only being sold in a few of the health stores, a few of the health store chains. Because of the price point, there's the normal supermarkets, they're not really interested in it. So it's trying to figure out like where the right market is for the chocolate. I'd like to see us do, you know, maybe double, like 2.5 tons a month, maybe 3 tons a month. That I think would be, if we could maintain that and not have to, I think that would be, in terms of the amount of cocoa you need to be able to produce that, it kind of works out, the amount of cocoa you can fit into a container per harvest, you know, is about 15 tons. So if it could be that we would get 1 container per harvest, you know, always using fresh, you know, that's what you have for the whole year. You make your 1 vintage, you're done till the next year. I think that would be ideal. That's what I'm kind of looking to get to.
Very awesome. Hey, looks like we got something to taste here. Maybe. That's good stuff.
You want to try the 100%? You want to try the 100%, right?
The 100. Oh yeah, I gotta try the 100.
Yeah.
I gotta capture this, Josh. Go on.
Yeah. Hold on.
I'm a little bit ahead of you here, Josh, because I've already tried it.
You've already been here.
Yeah, I've been here once.
Let's
So.
see if I have.
You do all your design and stuff yourself?
No, the designer. Also, this is, you know, how God works. Is I found a. Where's one right here? Yeah. So the designer that we have, we originally did our own first designs ourselves. Zev had a little bit of background in it. We made our own photos packages. I don't know. I should ask him to dig one out for you. You can see if you can find it. But I was looking. I really want to sell the chocolate like this, just in a plastic bag with a sticker or something. And I wanted people to understand that it's expensive because of what's inside. It's not about the wrapper. The Israelis weren't going for that. So I looked online and I found I was willing to use a designer from anywhere in the world. I didn't care, and I found this guy who just had such a cool concept. It was, and I didn't even know this until I met the designer. Was he had a wine bottle, and he took like a swatch of flannel, like the old kind of flannel that would be used in like. I remember like my grandparents' generation, like they would wear these jackets that were made out of this kind of flannel, like plaid. And he took a swatch of it, and he had it sewn around the bottle instead of a sticker label. It was a piece of fabric, and the name of the brand was called Zander. Zander is grandfather in Yiddish, and he used like he makes fonts, so he used the font of like the old Yiddish newspapers, but made it modern, and like that was the idea, and I loved it, and I was like, where's this guy from? And I saw he's in Tel Aviv. And right away, just from like his designs, from what he was doing, this was stuff he did in school. It wasn't. I mean, I got lucky. I kind of caught him before he's been famous. Now I'm sure he's gonna be a lot more famous now. So. But we were actually his first private project. His first private project after he left the firm that he was working at. And we've been working with him ever since. And it's like, it's really, again, hashgacha pratit. It's like just the way that God, you know, is with me at least. I feel like I could tell him something, and he does it exactly how I think. Like for example, and just give you a quick overview. I mean, all these machines, you recognize them from over there. You know, these are just the machinery. We wanted to kind of show the world how we make the chocolate. But this view right here is actually, it snowed in Ma'ale in this yeshuv, you know, twice since I've been here, which is amazing. This is a picture of outside my front door. Like I just kind of turned around with the snow, and I sent it to him. It's like, this is what we're gonna do for the white chocolate.
So this is you sitting in this chair here?
Yeah, that's me in my chair.
I thought it was you.
This is one of my girls.
Oh wow.
We don't have any dogs. That was made up. But also these hills, these rolling hills are. You know, I brought the designer here. It was very important. I didn't want to work with anybody who didn't want to come here. And my designer, like, he's right in the heart of Tel Aviv. You know, but I dragged them out here, and he also came with the film crew, took photos and video of the whole area. And we tried to incorporate it into the packaging and to try to give over a sense of, you know, what's it like.
So I guess the question I'd have for you guys now is that what are your, it's kind of a deep question. You may have to take a few seconds to think about it, but what are your dreams? Like you being here, I'm sure you maybe, you know, you're one day you're sitting there stirring the chocolate and you think about those things going, what do I want the future to be? You know, what is, even, but not just even for the chocolate factory, but even for like your families, and what do you want your children to see? You know, there's got to be thoughts in the back of your mind one day.
I've always, I mean, since the day I moved here, my dream has been like, I can't wait for the day for the fences to come down and for the ability, like I walk on the street, you know, a lot of people don't walk on the street, like outside the fences, and you know, I definitely am dreaming for that day when, you know, there's absolutely no problems. You know, you could, driving wise to Hebron, for example, the amount of time it takes to drive to Hebron, that's about 15 minutes by car. The reality is you probably bike it in about the same time because it's shorter, because it's closer, but you have to drive around this very circuitous route. So I mean, a lot of times I have dreams about what the place is gonna look like. You know, what it's gonna like when all of a sudden, you know, the fences come down and all of a sudden there's a mad rush to just start filling up all the hills with, you know, everyone wants to come. This is great. This is great countryside. You know, it's 45 minutes literally from everywhere. 45 minutes to Beersheba, Tel Aviv is maybe an hour. Jerusalem, 45 minutes. I mean, it's not that far away from anything, but you're really, you know, I'm excited to see that dream happen when it really fills up, and it's not just like, you know, a few Jews here, a few Jews there, but like, you know, it should be. They wanted, I think, a couple years back, they wanted to try to figure out how they're going to build this area of Yehuda. You know, like the Golan was apparently a success in terms of, you know, the PR, in terms of how they sold the Golan Heights as, you know, whatever it is. So someone actually in the regional council, they're saying, you know, we have to take them as a model. You know, let's start billing Yehuda as like a Napa Valley. You know, it's wine country, it's olive oil country. You know, there's a lot of goats everywhere, and you know, you could really change the people's vantage point of what the place could look like. You know, let's get nice small resorts, you know, little vacation spots here and there. It's gorgeous. It could happen. You know, so I'm looking forward to that.